start with breaking news coming in right now. This is in connection with the revision of the voter list, and now Supreme Court has refused the revision of the voters list. Breaking news coming in ahead of the Bihar Assembly elections. The order, I'm just reading out the order, I quote, "An important question has been raised in these bunch of petitions before this court, which goes to the very root of functioning of a republic, that is our country. The question is of the right to vote." Remember, this comes after Bihar Bandh yesterday. This is about the revision of voter list, and Supreme Court has declined to stay the Bihar voter survey. Breaking news coming in right now in connection with the revision of voter lists, and the court says, I quote, "We are of the considered view that the matter needs hearing before the appropriate court on 28th of July 2025. Meanwhile, the counter affidavit will be filed by the Election Commission within 1 week from today, and the rejoinder, if any, will be filed before 28th of July 2025. So there are 3 points of challenge. All right, we have Executive Editor of Legal Affairs, Rhythm, joining us on the broadcast. Rhythm, tell us more details about the significance of this Supreme Court refusing the revision of voters list. Rhythm, can you hear me? Rhythm,
the Supreme Court has just passed its order, Rakshita, and the Supreme Court is going into details of the challenge. The matter was taken up, and Senior Advocate Gopal Sankacharyan, this order had stated was permitting under the Act. The Supreme Court had refused the revision of the voters list because the Supreme Court had been given arguments before them in which the Supreme Court had clearly been told by Gopal Sankacharyan that this kind of an activity had not been done. Passing the order, in fact, the judge had, after looking at both the sides, asked several questions to everyone appearing. Rakesh Dwivedi had also appeared in the case for the Election Commission. There was also Justice Bagichi, who had made certain questions in this case. The court is looking into what all they have stated, and for now, the court has right now stated that we're going to look at all that has been there before us. The arguments that have been given had also been there. Now an order has been passed. They've said there are 3 points of challenge. The courts have actually started off by saying an important question has been raised in these by bench of petitions before this court. The question is of the right to vote. The order the petitioners would argue in the exercise is undertaken in 2025. They've gone into details about what they're really trying to do. Then they've said, Rakesh Dwivedi had said, on the other hand, the last intensive revision took place in 2003, and now it's required under certain articles. There are 3 points of challenge the bench has given out them. The power of the Election Commission to conduct a special intensive revision, the procedure adopted by them, and the timeline. The order then says, we are of the considered view that the matter needs hearing before the appropriate court on 28th of July. Meanwhile, counter affidavits are to be filed, and that's what's going to be happening. They've also said that the Election Commission of India's counsel submits the list of 11 documents is not exhaustive. They've gone on to say that the petitioners are not pressing for an interim stay at this age, and therefore, in any case, the draft electoral roll is to be published only after August 1st. The matter is therefore listed on the 28th of July. So it's a short interim direction from the Supreme Court, I would say. The matter is going to next come up on the 28th of July. On the 1st of August is when that electoral roll is to be published. They've heard both the sides today, and they're going to take a call after all the affidavits are also submitted before that.
Right. Rhythm, in fact, also importantly, Supreme Court has directed the Election Commission to consider the AADHAR card and voter ID card and Ration card for the special intensive revision, because clearly Supreme Court has said that it's in fact raised the question that why AADHAR card has been excluded.
Yes, so what the Justice Dhulia had said is, in our opinion, it would be interest of justice if the AADHAR card, the EPIC card and the Ration card should be included. They've clarified it is for the Election Commission to still decide whether it wants to take these documents or not. This is an oral observation made in the court. So the court has been told, meanwhile the petitioners were pressing earlier and trying to see what needs to further happen. But as of now, 28th of July, after affidavits have been filed, in the next date of this court hearing, we shall know what will further happen.
Right. In fact, Rhythm, we also have my colleague Aditya joining us on the broadcast from the National Capital. Aditya, tell us more about what updates are you picking up from the Supreme Court? What are the observations that have been made, and what Supreme Court exactly directed the Election Commission of India?
Yeah, first of all, the matter was not about to question the mandate which has been entrusted to the Election Commission. First of all, the issue was not regarding whether the Supreme Court was to ascertain that the Election Commission has the power to actually start the role, but the second one, which is the process, that how the process was undertaken by the Election Commission. The issue which was before the Supreme Court was about the timing. Now, the Supreme Court has asked the Election Commission Counsel, Mr. Dwivedi, about the timing, that this rule could have been done, which should have been independent with the elections, but with elections in due time. Now, this becomes something which Supreme Court was about to quite ascertain, that this process should have been independent of election, whether or not. And the third one about the basic structure doctrine. The petitioner argued that this process was more about democracy, more about the right to vote, and the right to vote, if something happens with that, this might affect the basic structure doctrine, to which the Supreme Court agreed with the petitioner. And
We seem to have, I think you have unmuted yourself. There's some problem with your audio there, Aditya. We'll just fix that. And that's the latest update we have right now. The Supreme Court refuses to put a stay on revision of voters list, and we'll try and get more updates on that. But just let me just read out what has happened today for all those tuning in. The Supreme Court has directed Election Commission of India to consider AADHAR card, voter ID card and Ration card for the special intensive revision of Bihar electoral rolls. An important question raised in these orders says that the question is of the right to vote. So there is focus on the right to vote. At the same time, this will continue. The survey will continue. That is what has been, of course, said by the court. That has been made clear. So there is no stay. So there is, it comes as a sort of a setback for the opposition who was raising questions on this very survey. But there is relief for the electoral body, for the Election Commission, as top court declines to stay the. Okay, Aditya continues to be with us. So Aditya, well, we can say that this is, of course, a sort of, a relief for the poll body, for the Election Commission, that the survey stays, the survey continues rather. And yes, there have been just certain questions like the right of vote and the usage of AADHAR that has been pointified by the bench.
Yes, it is. The argument which was reached by the petitioner actually draws an analogy between the two. The first one about the ROPA. The ROPA is actually the Representation of People's Act, and the second was about the Citizenship Act. Now, the issue was regarding the Citizenship Act. And this process might meddle with the right to vote, because this process actually deals with the citizens about their right to having a citizenry or not. Now, this matter was actually much more deliberated in the Supreme Court issue. The first one was about right to vote, and the second was about the process, the timing. Timing was quite important on this issue. The Supreme Court remarked orally that now this is not a summary exercise. This is neither a something which can be summarily done, which was by the law, but more like a special intensive role. Now, which is actually a part of question that whether the Election Commission was in their power to enroll it with this process, though the Dwivedi did contend and did present his fact that as per the law, Election Commission is truly having an obligation, a duty to maintain a role and to maintain a rule. They must check the voters or the citizens of India to ensure the democratic right, the democracy is prevailed in the election process.
And also the fact that, Justice Dhulia also said that if you are to check the citizenship, first of all, it's not your domain. That is what has been observed by Supreme Court, has said that it is up to the MHA to determine the citizenship. And if you are to check citizenship under SIR of electoral rolls in Bihar, then you should have acted early. Of course, that is one thing that has been pointed out too in terms of the timing, as you were saying, Aditya.